Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad we're all together here. I can tell you guys care about your career. These are difficult times. Let's not kid each other. There is pain with a lot of our clients. There's a lot of agents who are struggling. They're struggling mostly emotionally. They're struggling emotionally as well as they're frozen in place. They're stuck in that idea, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. They're in that place, that limbo. What is the right thing to do? So I want to share with you some ideas that you can take on to help you continue maintain your business. Right now, if you look at the title of my presentation, it says we must maintain our daily routines in order to weather this national crisis. So there is going to be, let's be honest about it, the next 2 weeks between today and April 15th, there's going to be a lot of bad news because we're getting closer to the crescent, to the top of the curve. Once we get to the top of the curve, then we get to the other side of it, and hopefully we'll be descending that curve, not quickly, but slowly. But we will not be, right now, we're ramping that curve of cases of what's happening in our country. So be aware that the first 2 weeks of April are going to be rough. The next week after that, there will be a feeling of a new normal where people will go, okay, we went through a normal in March, there's a normal in April, but people are going to get anxious. People are going to want to get out. People are going to want to work. You can't coop up the American people and keep them locked down for more than 30 days. They become antsy. They want to be part of the solution. They don't want to be just sitting watching TV. So let's work on some ideas. Most of you know who I am. I had a pleasure to meet many of you. I had a pleasure of working with many of you. I want you to reflect on this quote. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit home and think about it. Get busy and take action. This comes from Dale Carnegie. Most of you have read the book. By the way, just for you guys' knowledge, I am recording this so that if you guys want to have it to see it again or want to see some of the quotes and you want to have them, I will give Jerry a link to it. But inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. When you're in action, you feel like you're you're the master of your destiny a little bit, even though there are things you cannot do. If you're in action, you feel like you're making progress. So take action daily. The biggest challenge we have right now is not real estate market. I was looking at some statistics of what's happening in terms of sales. They're fairly stable. So the challenge is not the market. The challenge we have are our homeowners are emotional, our home sellers are emotional, which makes sense. But now, added to that, we have our brokers who are emotional, as well as our agents are emotional. And what that does, it makes us lose our normal routine, our good business routine. Some of you, January, February, you were building that routine ready for the spring, and then this happened, and it halted you in place. Many are glued to the news, thinking that watching the news will ease the pain. It does not, it makes it worse. Now, you got to be careful about how much you consume. By the way, one of the trends we're noticing now, many people have started drinking early during the day. And I don't mean water, the brown stuff or the white stuff that has a little bit of kick to it. A lot of people are drinking earlier because guess what, man? It doesn't matter. Who cares? Hey, I'm watching TV. Let me have a sandwich. Why not have a beer right now? That is gonna that normal routine. If you turn it into that, will start you'll start losing momentum. We must fight. We must fight to keep our daily routines running through this business We got to find a way to have a normal in the morning. We have to. We have to choose to fight it. Is it easy? Absolutely not. Right now, some of you are teachers, nurses, realtors, having to deal with the finance. So you're now a bookkeeper, you're an accountant, you're having to do all of these things all at once. And you are also emotionally probably in a place where it's not easy for you, but you must fight. If you keep your morning routine in your hand, you will be the better for it. So, I need you to become the solution providers. That's your job. I am absolutely okay with buyers and sellers being freaked out. I don't have a problem with it. Them being worried, they're worried about their job, them having those experiences is absolutely valid. You freaking out as they freak out, absolutely not okay. You need to be the center of calm. You need to be the person they come to and talk to. So you need to be calm, you need to be professional and engaged. So here's what I do. I go to my bedroom and I scream. I yell at the universe, and then I come back and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Because if I'm freaking out and my clients are freaking out, there are no solutions. And guess what? We need to be grounded. And remember, don't lose your smile. Don't frown too much. Don't go like this all day long because things are tough. No, smile. Give somebody a chance to, say, hey, there's life still. Become the source of solutions. And the source of solutions, you should become a source of solution at the local level, at the county level, at the state level, at the national level. So I'm going to give you an idea on what I'm doing today. Today at 12 noon, I'm recording a video to help all of our agents at Exit be able to apply for the grant that the government has set aside, which is $350 billion. It is an SBA loan, but a portion of it is a grant, meaning you don't have to repay it. There is a procedure you have to go through to apply for it. So what I'm doing is I'm interviewing an agent who has gone through the process, and I'm going to make that video available to all of you, to all of our exit agents, because that's taking action. So I'm always looking at, what do I do next? How do I help my agents not only survive, I want them to thrive. So I need you guys to become the solution providers. What do I mean by that? Find out what locally your city, your county, and your state are doing for people who cannot pay the rent, cannot pay the mortgage, want to sell but they're scared. They want to buy but they're scared. Your job is to have, if I was going to do something, I would have you work as committee. I want you to have what's called a committee that looks at all of the solution. Somebody works what renters can do to survive the next 60 days, what homeowners can do to survive the next 60 days. What do you do if you lose your job for the next 60 days? What do you do if you are a homeowner and you want to sell? What should you do in the next 60 days? If you're buying and you want to take advantage of the rates, how do you see property and how do you make offers in the next 60 days? So what I would do, I would put together a group of people. We divide and conquer, and we create this major document, maybe a 10-page document that every agent at Exit Realty XL will have. And then we pick the phone and we call people. And the only thing we need to ask is, how are you? How can I help? How are you? How can I help? That's it. You do not need to sell real estate. You should not sell them real estate. Let them buy real estate from you, because they go, but what if I want to buy now? Then you go there. But right now, if you had that document with you and the person you're talking to says to you, I'm a nurse, are there any programs for me? You will say, the city of Germantown has this. The city, the county we're in is doing this. The state is doing this, and the federal government is doing this. If you have all of these solutions right then and there, When you're calling, you're not commiserating, you're offering solution. So I need you to think about, how can we divide and conquer this beast? It is a beast. Don't get me wrong. This is not an easy normal. This is scary for a lot of people, but we cannot be frozen in place. We have to take action. And for me, the best action is to help other people by providing them with solutions. So let me give you some statistics, and I want, some of you have been with me in the 8-week boot camp, understand these statistics. I'm showing you this chart, but I want you to understand it. Okay, so let me explain what this chart is. If you took 2019 and 2018, in the United States, there were 5.3 million listings. So last year, in 2019, 5.3 million families or individual listed their home, and that means 5.3 million homeowners bought their home. These are listings that closed. And if you add in all of the other transactions, it ends up to about 11.5 million transactions a year. Okay? That's the last 2 years, 2018 and 2019. Now let's look at the last 10 years. If you look at the last 10 years and you look at the average per year in the last 10 years is 5 million transactions. So, no, not transacted, 5 million listings sold, which is a little bit more than 10 million. Because remember, for each side, there's two sides to a transaction, correct? So there's a buyer and there's a seller. So in the last 10 years in the United States, we averaged 5 million listings. That's what's called the normal for us realtors, 5 million listings. When the market crashed, and that one was not only a financial crisis, it was also a housing crisis. During that period, we only went down to 4.5 million. See, people thought during that period, 2007, 2008, 2009, there were no buyers, there were no sellers. No, there were still deals being made. What happened is some people kind of pulled back a bit. Well, guess what? The projection for this year were for 5.5 million listings. You know how many we're going to do? We're going to do about 5.1, 5.2. Some of you are going, but Keith, that doesn't make any sense. March was wobbly. Yes, March was wobbly. April would be wobbly, but the pent-up demand is growing. You see, people are delaying their actions, some of them. So you could be talking to them right now, and they're buying with you in June, or in July, or in May. But it's the work you do now. And here's what you'll notice. At the end of this year, we will be around 5.2, 5.1 million. At worst, we'll go down to 5 million. So will there be listings? Absolutely. Will there be buyers? Absolutely. And don't forget, there's this adage I've told you guys a long time ago. When life happens, real estate happens. The people are losing their jobs who do not get back another job. Unfortunately, some of them are going to foreclose. So are we going to see an uptick in foreclosures? Yes. Even though they got a little bit of money for 2 months to survive, after that, there's no more money. And when there's no more money and they cannot pay the mortgage, they're going to lose their home. So there will be pain. There will be foreclosures. Does that mean we need to learn how to do foreclosures? Yes. Why? Because we're realtors. We provide solutions to people and we try to help them confront reality. We don't put rose-colored glasses. We deal with reality. So here's a truth that sucks. The economic downturn is making strong agents redouble their commitment to their career. But it's doing something else too. It's taking the dabblers, the people on the side of real estate, it's taking those dabblers and confronting them if they have what it takes to stay in it. And guess what? 100,000 agents this year, on top of the normal 200,000 who leave, will leave this year. So I want to make sure you understand this. Every year, 200,000 agents leave the business and 200,000 agents come into the business every year. It doesn't change. It hasn't changed. It's been that way forever. 200 come in, 200 leave. Now, this year, instead of 200 leaving, we're going to have 300 agents leave. And here's the scary part. The number of transactions will not be affected. And that's the rough part of real estate, is that transactions in real estate are going to continue to happen. Who's going to be the survivor, the strong one, the one who has the solution, picks up the phone and calls people? This is what this is causing you to do. Here's another reality. Your would-be buyers and would-be sellers are frozen by fear, and that's absolutely understandable. Your job, and please take this job seriously, stay calm, stay strategic, and engaging. The fear will, have you noticed that fear sometimes dissipates when you're prepared, when you talk about something? Remember when you were a kid and you were convinced there were monsters under your bed? And your mom or your dad came in with a flashlight and they went and looked down there? You knew that the monsters were hiding. As soon as mom walked into the room, they were hiding, and then they'll come back later. But it did give you that comfort that says, you know, maybe they're not there, or maybe they're not going to get me because mom is around. Well, guess what? When you talk about fear, it starts dissipating. It doesn't hold you frozen. But the main thing is you need to absorb anything you can do for your clients so you can become the solution. If you're struggling emotionally, find a success partner and talk to them. It's okay for you to struggle emotionally, but you cannot be struggling emotionally in front of your clients. That's what's not appropriate. You come into me or to your broker or success partner and talking about your fears, absolutely valid. But then you have to get it together and pick up the phone and talk to people. You need to be talking to 20, 30, 40 people a day. So let me give you a way to think about it. So I'm going to give you 3 questions I want you to ask yourself every morning, and I hope you take them on. Kevin Kelly, who's the founder of Wired Magazine, said a good question is worth 1,000,000 good answers. That means if you ask yourself good questions, you will have insight about yourself, about your condition, and about the people around you. So here's the first question you ask yourself in the morning. Who am I engaging and checking in with today? Who am I going to engage? Who am I going to engage today? And who I want to check in today? Who should I call? Do I call my friend Jerry? Do I call my friend Brian? Who do I engage? Number 2, how can I use this new normal to get stronger today? So we know there is pain in the streets. We know that. How can I use today, this new normal, to become stronger? And the third one comes from the idea of gratitude. What beauty am I creating, nurturing, and sharing today? What am I bringing to the table that is beautiful, that is a solution, that is grounded? How do I connect with people? These 3 questions, or a variation of them, if you start your morning asking yourself these type of questions, you will be focusing on the right stuff. If you wake up and you turn on the TV to watch the news, you're focusing now on fear and scarcity. Rather than focusing on abundance, you're focusing now on what you're losing, what you don't have anymore. So here's some actions. First thing you got to work on, don't work on your business. Work on you. Get you right. When you get you right, your business is right. Work on your mindset. And how do you do that? Read good books. Listen to great podcasts. Read your Bible. Do things that nurture your soul. Do exercises. Do something that gets your mindset in the right place. Talk to people who share the same values as you, who have the right mindset as you. Those people will tend to build you up rather than tell you what's wrong with the universe. Work on a big project, and you guys know that project. Some of you have been meaning to work on that listing presentation. You've been meaning to update it. You know, the pictures are old and you haven't put the right logo. And you know that project, take it on. This is the time to do it. You know that blog you've been always wanted to do, or that video channel on YouTube that you wanted to build? This is the time to work on it. You know that market report that took you a long time to master? Maybe you work on one right now. Work on a big project and divide it up slowly so that when the wave, and the wave is coming, trust me, the wave of real estate, the heavy wave is coming, you are ready. So get your ducks in a row, your presentation, your scripts. Some of you have some good scripts on the phone, door to door, face to face. Guess what? You need to be practicing them right now. This is the time to work with your success partners and engage, engage, engage. There's nothing else. Watching TV does not help you. Making a meal, you know, some of you have become bakers and you guys are enjoying the kitchen because it's right there. People told me, "Are you doing lunch and learns?" I'm like, "Yeah." And everybody has the food. It's next to their refrigerator. Their computer is here and the fridge is over there. Go grab a sandwich. But you need to engage. If you're not spending 2 to 3 hours a day talking to people on the phone, you are either depressed, scared, or something is going on, and we need to help you get past that. Select your news sources. Consume a little bit of news because you need to, but consume a little bit of it, just a tad, so that you are informed, but not so much that you become depressed. So select your news sources. Local news is more important than national news. What's happening in New York is happening in New York. And that's it. What's happening in Germantown affects you more than what's happening in New York. Yes, there are consequences to what's happening in the country, but you need to know your local news and focus primarily on local solutions. Call mortgage companies and say, "Hey, what are you doing for clients? What good news can I tell my clients? Don't tell me the bad news, tell me the good news. What good news can you tell me?" Call a home inspector. "What good news shall I tell my clients?" Call an appraiser. "What good news shall I tell my clients?" That's what you should be asking, and you should be forming a group of people who give you the good news. You're the receiver of it, and then you shower it on people. You make sure everybody gets your flowers, everybody gets the good news, but you want to be grounded about it. If you're going to maintain your routines, control your morning. Some of you are watching Netflix until midnight or past it. Come on, stop that. Netflix is not gonna go away, man. But I'm catching up. I'm catching up on Breaking Bad. I haven't seen it. I want to watch the whole thing in one night. Don't do that. Yes, watch a little bit of Netflix. Have some escapism, maybe an hour, maybe two, but not all night long. Don't have the TV all night long. Go to bed early, wake up early. So let's do this exercise with me. Grab a pen. Please grab a pen and grab a piece of paper. And I want to ask you this question first. I want you to write down the proper healthy time that you think you should go to bed. I want you to write it down. You know what that number is. For some of you, it's 10 o'clock. For people like me, it's 9 o'clock. For other of you, maybe 11 ish. But I want you to write the proper healthy time for you to go to bed. Don't think, write. Number two, I want you to now write the time you should wake up in the morning so that your morning is strategic, so that when you wake up, you are waking up intentionally. You're not waking up reactively, you're waking up intentionally. Write that time. What is that time for you? For me, it's 3:30 in the morning. For you guys, could be 5 o'clock in the morning. For some of you, 5:30. By the way, I know one thing, it's not 10 o'clock in the morning, because that's not cool. Don't do that. Now, here's the difficult thing. I want you to write 2 to 3 healthy morning routines that do not involve television and do not involve your work, which we call me time or family time. whatever that means. I need you to write 2 to 3 things that are either me time or family time. It could be preparing breakfast for your kids. It could be going for a walk with your dog. It could be doing Pilates or doing yoga. Could be reading your Bible. Could be doing your affirmation. I need you to write 2 to 3 things that you will do every morning in the next 30 days. So this mindset is set. Go. I'm going to give you a minute to write those things. And those of you who brought your children to the class, first of all, thank you. And second, tell them I'm a professor of mathematics. There will be an algebra test right after this. So there'll be an algebra test. You better be ready. And we're going to be talking about square roots. So be ready for an algebra class. That's what I used to do for a living. And I would love to do it after the class. Okay? Does everybody have 2 to 3 things? Okay. All right. So smart agent who control their day, they feed their mind. They have a journal, they read daily, they journal daily, and they focus primarily on how do they feel. Am I scared? Am I worried? What am I thinking about? And they also think about messages of gratitude. They pick 2 people or 3 people a day and they send them a message. I'm thinking about you. Keep going. I love you. You're a good force in my life. I love having you in my life. They send 2 to 3 messages of gratitude to their success partners, to their wives, husbands, kids, clergy, people they care about. And most of you know the books. Um, you know that book you've been meaning to read? This is the time to read it. Grab that book. For some of you who are trying to, strengthen your negotiation skills, you may want to consider this book called Yes by Robert Cialdini. This book, Yes by Robert Cialdini, talks about how to 50 scientifically proven ways to become persuasive. So this could be a good book for you. He's the guy who wrote the book called he wrote a book called Influence, and I know a lot of you know that book called Influence. But some of you could read this book. It's an easy read. It helps you become a negotiator. It helps you think properly. So this could be a book for some of you. For those of you who don't have a good organized office and you don't actually organize your time, you may want to get this book, Organize Tomorrow Today. This could be a good book for you because this way, when you wake up in the morning, the mindset is let's get to work, let's get to work. So, Jason Selk, Organize Tomorrow Today could be a good book. But I know all of you. You guys have good ideas for book. Just nourish your mind. Spend 15, 20 minutes reading. Have a journal and write your ideas. It's going to matter. So let me tell you what your best skills are. Because you are a realtor, I already know what you are good at, and I'm going to tell you the 3 skills you have. Skill number 1, you're a great listener. What makes a great realtor is a listener, as somebody who listens with intention. And right now, you know what we need in the country? We need great listeners. We need people who are our friends, who are our neighbors, who are sellers, who are renters, who are homeowners, to talk to someone and let them know this too shall pass. Tell me what you're going through. Let me share with you some of the solutions I know. So you're very good at that. So practice that now. Number 2, you're a good reframer. Somebody going, what? A reframer is somebody who listens to something important, and is able to absorb it and validate it and then say it back to the person who just said it in a different way so that that person gets a sense that they were heard. We call that reframing. You're very good at reframing. So this is a skill you want to employ. And the last skill is called injection. You're very good at injection. You're going, what is that? Well, you do it without realizing. You inject the name of the person in the conversation as you're talking to them. Like right now, I'm talking to Natalie. So I would say, Natalie, you're a great injector in the business. That means when you're talking to your client, you remember to include their name in the conversation. So let me give you an example. So if I'm hearing you right, Jim, we are going to wait until your supervisor give you your new schedule before we proceed to seeing properties. He goes, yes, that's exactly what we need to do now. I say, you got it. I'm going to add this to the checklist. Now let's work on your finances. We know that taxes matter. Do you know where you are, your 2-year tax returns? Do you know, can you locate them? He goes, yeah, I think I have them somewhere. I say, why don't we add that to the checklist, Jim? That's called injecting their name, reframing. When they tell you something that's important, you find a way to send it back to them. These 3 skills is what makes a good realtor a good realtor. Well, guess what? You should be practicing them. You should be on the phone going, I can't wait to do this. Like Oprah would say, you should be doing that. Why you just, if you're not talking to people, you're not practicing your skills. You need to practice that skill. It's an important skill. So, engage. Here's how you engage. I want you to block 2 hours daily, minimum, and here's how I want you to work. I want you to take the first 35 minutes, and only 35 minutes, dedicated to new business follow-up calls. Okay? 35 minutes. So here's what you do. You grab your script, you grab the list of new business follow-up, and you work for 35 minutes on those people. Then you take a 10 to 15-minute break. I like people when they go walk around, they hydrate, they pace around. I'm a pacer. I like pacing. And what they do is they're gonna shaking it off. And then they do another 35 minutes of what's called referral business and sphere of influence. They put a script in front of them and they make 35 minutes minimum calls to their sphere of influence and referral business. And remember, the question is very easy. How are you? How are you dealing with what's going on? That's it. That's where it starts. Let them talk. Do great listening. It will make a difference. Then you take a 15-minute break to shake it off, and then you come back and you do 35 minutes of lead generation or what's called lead harvesting, basically creating new business, getting people to talk to you about their real estate needs. You are overtly seeking people. So 35-minute, 15-minute break, and notice it will go fast. You will feel accomplished. And you will feel good about yourself because you took action. Action is your friend. So this is called engagement. And remember, we learned the 4 phases of a phone call. And if I was to put Sam on the spot, and I would ask her, what are the 4 phases of a door knock? What are the 4 phases of a call? She will say something like this. She will say, well, a good call has 4 phases. The first one is the preparation stage, getting ready, ringing the prospect, having a smile on your face, having your phone script in front of you, having your follow-up questions with you, and being very relaxed, very loose. So that's the first thing you do. We call that the preparation stage. Then what we do, we have to have a reason to call. The good news is, right now we have a reason to call. And it's simple. How are you? What's going on? The third one, if you know it, it's called the ask. We have to ask for business, but maybe we don't ask directly. Maybe we ask a round way. We may say, Carrie, how do we, do you know anybody who's struggling with either their housing, their renting, or their mortgage? Is there anybody you know who's struggling that I can help? And she goes, yeah, my neighbor next door. See, I'm asking for business, but in a roundabout way because I want to engage people. So that we always ask for business. And what follows asking? Somebody knows this. Somebody in my class, they know this. It's called validation. That's right. I saw Sam saying validation. I saw it. Validation means whatever they say, They don't get to feel wrong. You get to hear them, you get to engage them, you get to maybe reframe it to them before you ask them the next question. So remember these 4 phases. Every call has a preparation stage, the reason, the ask, the validation. If you remember your scripts and you can put them in front of you and you have your question next to you, guess what happens? Now you're adding value to your clients. You're not a salesperson. You're an advisor. You're giving people solutions. You're not manipulating them. You're working with them towards their goals. Now, I want to recommend to all of you to learn how to use Zoom. Zoom has a free product that each one of you can install on your computer. It allows you to do 3, 4, 5 people at a time, and you can collaborate. You can work together. So learn how to use Zoom. But with Zoom, Carrie, you know what you could do? You could also share your listing presentation. So you could do a listing presentation through Zoom with somebody who's in their home and say, let me show you what EXIT Realty XL can do for you when we list your home. Let me show you the different ways we do our marketing. So if they're sitting in their office with either their phone, their tablet, or their computer, they get to see your screen, they get to see you, and they get to see your presentation. So you can go share my presentation, and whatever you put on the screen, just like I'm doing right now, they get to see. So please learn to use Zoom. Yes, Carrie.
Key, you like Zoom better than this GoToMeeting?
Well, for me, they're the same. The part about Zoom is that they have a free part. They have a free section that allows you to hold 40-minute meetings. And right now, listen, we have to be very careful with expenses. So we don't want to just be spending. So because they allow you to do 40-minute meetings, you can start a meeting. I can do a meeting for 40 minutes or 30 minutes with Jerry. I can bring in Carrie. We could talk, the 3 of us. And then when that ends, start another one. You can do as many of them as you want. But GoToMeeting has more tools for people like me. I mean, I do this for a living. Zoom does not give me all of the tools that I need to work with you guys. But you guys don't need what I do. What you need is just that face to face, that collaboration. Please learn to use Zoom. Let me finish with this big picture idea and then take your questions. Success is connected with your actions. Successful people keep moving. They make mistakes, but they don't quit. So please don't you dare quit. Keep going. Go through this valley of pain. You will become stronger and better on the other side. And this is a test of your commitment to your career.